Today we will be going to talk about scan to BIM skills and the opportunities in India, right? So before I proceed, make sure that all of you keep your audio off and video as well off, okay? So that we don't have any disturbance in the session. Once we finish the session, we will have a Q&A interaction where we can communicate and talk and discuss ideas or questions, whichever you have, okay? I hope my voice is loud and clear to all of you. Just give me a thumbs up. It's if it's loud and clear. Okay, that's nice. Cool. So as we proceed, I'll just share with you. So this is the poster which you would have seen before joining the session. Skills required for scan to BIM jobs in India. Okay, this is me, Adnan Ghori, the founder and director of iWorkstation. I have been working as a trainer as well as also working in the BIM field since the past 6.5 years. Okay, and I have trained more than 2,000 plus professionals worldwide. Uh, Almost 115 plus students have been employed so far in India. So, and also we have some of the iWorkstation job groups on WhatsApp, Telegram, which you can later join. So as we proceed, I would like to directly focus on the skills for scan to BIM modeler. So many of the people who are entering into this field, they might know or they may not know that scan to BIM is one of a very important skill set which is required in the BIM industry, or you can say digital engineering field, or you can even say virtual design and construction. There are so many different names for this field, but we need to focus on something which is required in the industry. So that is scan to BIM. Okay, so there are different ways which is in which we work on a project, on a construction project. One is scan to BIM, another one is CAD to BIM, and the another one is BIM to CAD. Okay, these are the basic three workflows which is usually used in the industry. Scan to BIM is a process in which where you are scanning a particular building data, any building data, like a residential building or a hostel or a hospital complex, shopping mall, anything which is already existing in the nature, and that converting this data into a 3D model. That entire process is called as scan to BIM, where you are using an equipment, scanning the data and then converting it into a BIM model. Okay, I will. Okay, then there is another way which is called as point cloud to BIM. Okay, so scan to BIM includes a point cloud to BIM. So point cloud to BIM is a little bit different thing in which the scanning has already been done. We are just using a point cloud file. It's simply like an X-ray of your own body parts or any parts of which you can take an X-ray. So it's simply like an X-ray of a building which you can directly convert using software tools to a 3D BIM model. So what skills are required in order to be ready for a scan to BIM specialist? The people who are already into the field of architecture or civil engineering or interior design, or they are mechanical engineers or electrical engineers. Some people are in the construction project management domain who have taken masters in construction project management or project management, or the people who are into real estate. So all these people can work in the scan to BIM domain. So first of all, you need to have an ability to use different discipline project modeling in Revit. Okay, so Revit I am focusing on is because I am more concerned towards the Autodesk applications. I don't focus on other applications, but there are other applications as well in which modeling can be precisely and accurately done, like Tekla, EcoSim, ArchiCAD. There are so many other tools like that. Okay, so we are not going to talk about other tools. We are just focusing on the Autodesk application as of now. Then the second is you need to be able to convert this point cloud data and import it in a Revit, in a particular software. So that is a pretty challenging thing because a lot of people doesn't know that this point cloud data is not a small data. It's a very heavy and big data, at least 20, 30, 40 GB of size. So to handle this particular data, you need a different set of configuration in your system as well. And also, if you are working to be a scan to BIM modeler, it's pretty difficult to have such a configuration of system. So if you have that configuration of system, then you can easily do with it. So you need to understand how to convert and import the point cloud data to Revit. Then coordinate setup in Revit. So imagine you have a building, and that building is at a particular location. I'm saying like in New Delhi. Okay, in New Delhi you have to develop a particular coordinate system where you can establish these coordinates in Revit. So when you receive the file, you will also receive the coordinates for that particular location. So you need to do a coordinate setup. Number one thing, if which is required in the project. If not required, you can directly import and start modeling the work, and later you can arrange the coordinates on the accurate locations as well. That's another thing. The fourth point is data reduction for accuracy and efficiency. Okay, so let's imagine I'm gonna show you a screen over here. This screen. Okay, can you see this file? It's a Navisworks file. I'll show you the recap one so you can better able to visualize. This particular project over here is a scan file. Okay, so in order to open this scan file, the Revit will need a lot of computing power. So this file is almost 20 GB in size. Okay, so when you open such a heavy file in a project like Revit, like this, which is a completed model of that point cloud, you need to reduce the data in order to do the accurate modeling and do it efficiently. Now, what do you mean by reduction of the data? So it's a big project, so you need to make it in small parts, maybe 10 parts or 20 parts, depending on your software and system configuration. Okay, let's say you have a system configuration in your PC or in your laptop, which is 8 GB of RAM and 4 GB of graphic card. It's very heavy and it's very difficult for you to work around in the software. You might be thinking, I just link this model and I want to work in Revit. Before I can easily work in Revit, but now it's not possible. Why? The only thing is the data is so huge that it's very difficult for you to make it shorter. Okay, so there are tips and tricks which you need to learn in order to reduce the size and reduce the computing power on your system by making it into small pieces and then working in small pieces in the project. That's the only way the people who are fresh graduates or the people who are starting their career in the BIM and they want to advance in this, because otherwise they won't be able to work on it. So you need a proper guidance in order to make it shorter in sizes and then work on it. In the small parts you will be able to work more efficiently and much better way. Okay, then the next we look at Revit families and online resources. When we work on these kind of project, you also need to work with different families. Families is basically elements in the Revit. Okay, I'm assuming some of you already know a little bit about BIM and what is it. Okay, and have some experience working in the Revit domain already. So it's like Revit families and online resources we need to use, like Revit City, GrabCAD. There are so many websites which is available where you can download the resources for free. Some are the paid resources, some are free resources. Okay, so depending on the project requirement, you need to know how to gather these resources. Okay, let's say if there is a door, so the door is pretty difficult for you to model in this particular project example, and you don't have a family of this project. So what you will do, you will make this particular door as a family in your project. It will take you maybe 4 hours, 5 hours, right? So to make a door family, simple door family, maybe it will take you 1 hour if you are experienced enough. But if it's a parametric door with certain parameters and different particular architectural design, it may be more difficult for you. So in that case, you should be so smart and efficient that you need to know where you can get this door directly. Just download it and use it in your project. So that's more easy, right? So you need to know these kind of skills in order to work on these projects, not just in scan to BIM project, like all the different category of projects which is there in the BIM sector. You need to know these skills, how you can efficiently download the project from online or the families online and use it in your project. Okay, let's come back. Ability to work in X, Y and Z coordinate. What do you mean by X, Y and Z coordinate? Basically, most of the people when they work in Revit, they use the AutoCAD plan and they make a 3D model on top of it, right? Or some people directly start with the 3D modeling or different stages of modeling or BIM to CAD, these kind of thing. But when you work on a point cloud data, the modeling is really challenging. It's not so easy because you have to work in a 2D environment as well as you have to work in a 3D environment where you have to work with all the three coordinates, X, Y and Z coordinates. The people who already know a little bit information about Revit and already have worked on it, they know what is X, Y and Z coordinates in Revit, right? So you need to arrange a point cloud data as a certain place and then work around with that point cloud data in these coordinates. So that's a pretty challenging part which all the scan to BIM modeler need to know accurately. Coordination using Navisworks. Okay, so now many of you maybe know like how we can do the scan to BIM using Revit, Recap or maybe some other different applications or platforms. But there is coordination as well. Sometimes in a particular building, you don't just have an architecture or structure part. You might have a MEP part as well. Okay, and it may not be a very small project. It may be a very big project, huge project, which requires maybe 50 people to work on this particular project. Because scan to BIM projects usually require a lot of computing power, lot of human resource, and a very good salary in this sector as well. So that's the thing. So in order to get that, you also need to learn how to use Navisworks for doing the coordination between these different disciplines. Then you need to know the Recap Pro. Recap Pro is the same application which I just showed you over here. This is a Recap Pro. I will be showing you these applications and softwares soon once we finish this PowerPoint. Okay. Recap Pro, Cyclone is another platform and application. CloudWorks, Ferrocene, Navis Window Viewer, etc. These are for realistic visualization, data capture and arrangements of these data. And using automation tools and plugins for making your modeling process easier, documentation process easier. These are the things which is required to be a successful scan to BIM modeler. Okay, and these are the things exactly the company or the industry where you are going to apply they are looking for. System configuration requirement. Most of the companies they don't want to invest in hardly system and costly softwares, right? So they prefer people who have a good system configuration, good laptop with them, so that they can directly use their resources, their laptop for carrying out their work, and that is quite possible nowadays. So scan to BIM modeling, scan to BIM process, as I already mentioned you, requires a lot of computing power, lot of human resource, and it's a big expense for a BIM company to take up a project like this, because it's a very challenging project for them to hire the resources. Number one, trained and skilled resource, it's a very big challenge. Number two is the equipment like laptop or a desktop or a workstation. So the people who have a good workstation or a high configuration laptop and already have this skill, they are better preferred in the market. Okay, so system configuration, as I already talked, you need to have at least 16 GB of RAM in order to work on a proper scan to BIM or a point cloud to BIM model. Okay, minimum 16 GB of RAM. If you don't have 16 GB of RAM, 8 GB of RAM is also sufficient, but make sure that you have a SSD. Okay, SSD is something solid state drive which can helps you to work on the software process much faster. Okay, so you need to have a SSD. So these are the basic skills for scan to BIM modeler. Then there are some of the cities all over the world which are already using the technology and have already make their entire city as a 3D model. Imagine that. Okay, so this scan to BIM is not just used for just buildings. I am just showing you a building, but imagine entire city and even an entire country. Okay, Singapore is an entire country which have already uses digital twin. They have a virtual Singapore as of now, provides a dynamic 3D model of the entire city states. What it supports? It supports the urban planning, disaster management, traffic control and lot of other things. IoT devices have already been incorporated using this digital twin model. So many problems can be solved using the digital twin. And what is exactly this digital twin? Digital twin is nothing but a replica of the real infrastructure which is over there existing. So existing building, and if you have a 3D model of it, which is a BIM model, and when you integrate this BIM model with the smart features like IoT, sensors, robotics, and automations, these kind of things, so it's like basically a digital twin model. Okay. Shanghai is one of the city in China which have already integrated, and it covers the entire city. Imagine 3,750 square kilometers of the area in Shanghai is already a digital twin model. Okay, and these things are all only possible in the last 5 to 10 years. Not very long, because just 5 to 10 years these things have been possible. Last 10 years they have already started using these technology, and in the last 5 years they have seen the benefits of it. So that's amazing. Imagine we use a Google map, right? In the Google map we can see the maps, roads, the buildings, but imagine if you see all these information in one place, how easy and efficiently you can plan the traffic of a particular city. There are so many problems which the cities are facing right nowadays. So all these problems can be solved using a digital twin strategy. So where it comes from, I'm just trying to make you align the story from how it started. Okay, so scanning the building and then using equipment, then making a 3D model out of it, then making this simple 3D model into a more information rich model and using it into a government system database where everything is integrated. So this system is not accessible to a normal human, but but in the near future you can see that you can do a lot of things. You can enjoy a party, maybe sitting in your own comfort zone, and maybe you can enjoy a party in some other country, or maybe you can do a meetings in some other country. These things are already possible for official works, but for leisure, for entertainment, for retail sector, for FMCG sector, entertainment industry, the possibilities are endless for these kind of technology. So let's come back to the topic here. So these are the cities which have been using the digital twin: Sydney, Dublin, Ireland. Okay, now let's dive into what the actual software looks like. So this is a recap pro. It's a simple point cloud data gathered from equipment. These equipments can be different equipments like Navis Window Viewer or Faro or BLK360. There are so many equipments. It's like a tripod. In olden times, people use a theodolite or auto level, dumpy level to survey something, right? Now people are using these kind of equipments to precisely just capture the data, like a 3D scan data. And instead of measuring each and everything, making a contour map, these scan data can help you do a lot of things which were previously done using a contour map or a theodolite or dumpy level, these kind of equipments. Okay, let's have a look at this data. So here you can see a particular warehouse where you can see the truss. Okay, I will show you exactly the points. So all these bubbles over here is the points where the data has been captured. Okay, so this is a very huge and big building. It's not easy to capture the data of this building entirely in one set. Okay, so what they do, they place the equipments at different locations. They map it out first, that which locations they had to place it, and every distance where they place the equipment has a certain level of precision and accuracy. Okay, one equipment can only capture a area or a parameter of, let's say, 20 meters or 10 meters or 15 meters. So depending on the different configuration of the system, the area is captured and rented out for a 1 day or 2 day works, and this data are being captured on the site. So when you capture these different data, okay, so you can go inside these data, visualize how exactly the building would be looking. Let's say I click on a real view. Okay, so I am inside this particular warehouse where I can see in real actually where the equipment has been placed before, and I can see all the details over here much clear. That was a point cloud data. This is like an image file from this point cloud. So you can have a more realistic visualization maybe there are some garbage, some CCTV cameras, there's a light, there's a basic wall camera. Okay, you can see that there is a truss over here, there's some cage. Let's go out, dive deeper what exactly this facility has. Okay, so here you can see the entire warehouse. I will jump to this part. On the right side you can see the entire map. It's like a key map where you can see where your exact equipment location is. Okay, you can see some tires around it, some sunk for carrying out the work. I'll go over here. So the first thing is, better you need to visualize the data what you have to make in a particular software, how much you have to model, what families you need to download or what families you can make. You need to have a proper strategy like a BIM execution plan, which we will later cover in the upcoming sessions. Okay, then I'll go over here. So here you can see that there's a roof at the top, all the pipelines, circular ducts, all these systems are going over here. Okay, so once you visualize these things, you can even measure certain distances. Let's say if I want to measure from here to here, approximately it's like 7.346 meter. Okay, then you can measure any area. Like, see, I want to measure the depth from here. You can see this circle from here going here like this. I click over here. There are a lot of garbage, that's why it's making these weird shapes, but anyways, it's like almost 1.74 meter, right? So this depth. So approximately you can capture the depth in order to start your modeling. And once you begin the modeling part, let's say in Revit over here, you need to basically link this entire model in the Revit in order to begin the modeling. So when you begin that, I will just quickly switch off the point cloud first so that we can visualize the Revit data more efficiently. Okay, so let's say this is the completed model. I'll take it in a section box and show to you what details have been captured and modeled over here. That's cool, right? So over here you can see the trusses, the ducts, rectangular ducts, the circular ducts. Okay, and you have some door, the ladder, the railing. And what is this over here? It's a curtain wall system which is being modeled over here. I will cut it down from the top. From the top you can see the same sunk which you saw over there. Let's have a check. Minus 1970. So almost the same height which we measured in Recap Pro over here, like 1.711, almost same. So this is how you can accurately, precisely measure in Recap in order to first, before visualizing, before modeling, you can visualize it and then use it in Revit. I have just linked the Revit model over here using a point cloud coordination, and then you can model this particular elements in 3D. Okay. So in order to model this, you need to model in level 1 to make different levels, whichever is easy, if provided by clients, different levels like a ground floor, first floor, second floor, and so on. Then you need to do accordingly. Otherwise, if not provided, you need to make your own levels and then make it happen. So I'll just show you a 3D model quickly right now and switch on the point cloud data. Okay, and I will switch off all the model data so that you can actually see the point cloud over here. That's cool, right? So this is the point cloud over here which have been linked, and on top of it everything have been modeled. So you can see on the south elevation here, you can see the entire point cloud data. I will switch off the model data. This is a model over here already placed. In order to visualize the point cloud, I can switch it off. Let's say click all and switch off. So now you can see how precisely it has been leveled, make different particular levels, and the modeling has been done over there. Okay. So this is something which a scan to BIM modeler, anyone working in the scan to BIM sector, need to know in depth about what is a point cloud, where does it come from, which equipments people use in the industry. Okay, like if I show you that these are the equipments which people use in the industry. Navis Window Viewer is one of them. Faro is one of the equipment, and it's also a company provided different products and services. artech3d.com, it's a website name, but they provide a different equipment services like BLK360, okay, and so on. Leica Store India, where they provide different products like BLK360. Cyclone Point Cloud, it's another platform where you need to process your data and whatever the data you have captured. So these are in different file formats. Okay, so this is a huge data, and in order to process this data you need certain applications, which is not Revit or Recap. Revit and Recap is for modeling and visualization, but in order to process that requires a certain level of skill set and efficiency. These things are mostly done by a scanner. Okay, they are not modelers, they are scanners which go onto the site, capture the data, and sort out the data, filter the data, and provide it to the BIM service provider in order to make a particular model. So these are the things, these are the softwares like Cyclone 3D point cloud processing software. It helps in various uses. Then there is automation tools also. There are a lot of automation tools which is happening nowadays, but I will just quickly show you one automation tool which is becoming quite popular in scan to BIM domain, and that is something people would be focusing on because it greatly reduces the human time for modeling anything. Okay, imagine you want to model a wall or a door, window, anything. So it's just like you have to just select a particular size and you have to select the element, and that element will boom come in front of you on the model directly. You don't need to model it and place it, align it, so many things which is completely automated by these kind of platforms. Okay, so this is Cloudworks AI. It's their website. Later you can go through their website. It's a quite interactive and different way of showing your website. Imagine having a website like this. It's like a metaverse. You can go inside and see the factory, the About Us section. I can go inside in this building where they mentioned about their product, their services. Okay, this Cloudworks Studio is a web-based IDE that lets user build applications and workflows from 3D content without writing any code. So this is another service. Users can create 3D content without writing any code because it's a cloud-enabled platform. There are different packages and subscriptions for it. Custom 3D models, no code, editor plus enterprise, and later on you can go through the recording of the founder of this company. You can play it.
Hi, I'm Yuvraj.
Yuvraj. Okay, I'll skip this part. Technology, architecture, media mentions. Okay. So what is exactly Cloudworks? So Cloudworks is for different platforms. Okay, I'll just copy paste over here. Cloudworks, Revit. If you use this, Lycia Cloudworks is for Revit, for AutoCAD, for Navisworks, for different other platforms as well. So it's a point cloud plugin for Revit. So what are the benefits? Optional LGS files, Cyclone, Jetstream, and Recap data source. Like you can open these kind of basic files. Work in Revit with point cloud from any laser scanner or point cloud creating 3D sensor. Eliminate the need for time-consuming export-import process of point cloud file formats. Usually it's a very time-consuming process, so it eliminates that need. Manipulates and navigate large points, cloud data sets faster. Let's say you have a big cloud data. and you have different certain points in this data, but you need to make a small 20 parts from this one single point cloud model. So using this software you can make it in small different parts and then accurately work on these small parts. So it really helps you save a lot of computing power which is required in your system. Imagine 20 GB of file having requiring a lot of computing power, whereas this 20 GB of file combines in just 500 MB or 1 GB of files, small part files, and then you are using this data for modeling things. Okay, catalog fit out intelligent, cyclone COE model support, set building levels directly from the point cloud, work planes from the point cloud, automatically find center, supports RGB, RDR, Jetstream, and so on. You can download, you can try their workflow for Revit, okay, and so on. I hope you enjoyed the session. Let's move on to a Q&A session. Any one of you have questions related to Scan to BIM can directly ask. Yeah, can raise their hand and ask me. Yes, Shahzad, you have any questions?
First of all, good morning all. My question is, there are many technologies that are evolving to make the construction better and better and to reduce the clash detection and increase the efficiency. But as I'm a fresh diploma graduate in civil engineering, I am facing an issue that there are very less position or there are no positions for a BIM trainee or like this scan to BIM trainee, because in colleges they taught us hardly AutoCAD, and it was an issue that there is a gap between our skills and the industry requirements. So better way of this to cope up this is that we are offered a trainee position in which we can work on real time industry projects, so we can learn about that. And if I try to learn new softwares, there are many things, many tools which may be not relevant to a particular job description. So that is hard to learn in this age. It is easier to learn when we are working on a project.
Absolutely, you are correct.
We have a context of what we have to learn. If I'm getting stuck in something, so I can just YouTube it. For example, I would not stretch this too long. For example, I have to make a portfolio. And for that I use the software Adobe InDesign. First time I used that software, but I had the context of what I have to make. So in 2 days I completed my portfolio and learned that software in just 2 days. Learned enough to make a portfolio.
That's really good.
How can I reduce this gap or enter in the industry as a fresher?
Okay. First of all, as you mentioned in your question, Shahzad, that not many companies are offering jobs for the fresh graduates. That's a really big challenge which a lot of people are finding as of now. Many people like you who already have the right skill set, they have knowledge and everything about, they know about the software, they know the working, they have worked on projects, or they might have learned from YouTube or any courses whatsoever. But the thing is, these companies will always mention that they need someone experienced. Now the problem here is the industry is asking for an experienced professional, but in order to get an experienced professional, one first need to work and get an experience, right? So how you can apply to these companies if there is no opportunities, there is no jobs for you? So the best way is, I will give you a small answer, like an iPhone. Okay, so iPhone, whenever they launch a new iPhone, all the new iPhone gets sold out very easily. Why? The thing is, everyone wants that. Everyone know that this is something they want to use in your daily life, and they trust the company. Okay, so in order, you already have a skill, you need to showcase the skills to the people. You need to use the platforms like LinkedIn, make your BIM portfolio, like as you said, you already make a BIM portfolio. You need to upgrade yourself, which you already have done. Then you have to regularly show what you are capable of. and the companies will directly find you instead of posting online that they have a fresher job posting, they have a vacancy for a trainee BIM modeler, these kind of things. It's not everyone's cup of tea. The companies don't want to spend time in training the candidate. Number one thing, they want a person who is already ready and capable of, and they are going to look you on LinkedIn or Indeed or Naukri.com. These are the websites. So you need to make sure that you first upload all the relevant information, you match their criteria. Okay. Second thing, there are few companies which are looking for fresh graduates, and they are even ready to train and work around it. Like yesterday only, I was talking with one of my student from my workstation long time ago, and he have his own company as of now. I will share you the details as of now. He is looking for a scan to BIM modeler. Okay, and he is ready to train the people as well, but the only condition is the person already need to have an experience working on Revit, experience on working on Revit, not on exactly the projects, but if you know how to work on Revit, how to work on scan to BIM projects, that is a plus point. That is at least a company or a person will expect, right? So I'll just quickly show you that particular job position which he has, where you can apply right now. Okay, if you really have a good BIM portfolio, if you have really worked on a particular project, then I would suggest you go and apply. Just search Buildality. It's this company. You can find the job posting over here. Buildality. You can see the position also is opened just 2 days ago. It's a Nagpur trainee modeler. So this is a position for a trainee BIM modeler where you can apply. So there are few vacancies, that's correct, but you need to apply for it, look out for it. You don't need to miss this chance. So I think, Shahzad, if you are really looking into a scan to BIM career, go ahead and apply for this position. Okay. Another way I will show you at now, BIM job. Let's say you search any BIM jobs in India. Okay. So it might show you certain results over here in LinkedIn, and you need to just filter it out. Hello, am I audible? Can you all hear me? Okay, I think I'm audible.
Yes,
Loud.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so you can filter it out from here by click on easy apply or by click on internship entry level and click OK. 573 job positions. BIM architect, might be it is mentioned that they need a 2-year 3-year experienced person, but still you can apply these positions. These are the company. Okay, Vivek Bole Architects, Unique SCAD, or Hetu Construction, Blanco, Mott McDonald, BIM Coordinator, BEP. You need to apply on their website. You need to apply through various ways, which we have discussed in the iWorkstation BIM strategy workflow. Okay, so there are vacancies, there are jobs. It's not like, but you just need to know how to apply, where to apply, uh, what data you need to have with you. Like as you said, portfolio, that's the number one thing. But what exactly you have mentioned in the portfolio? Is it really helping you to get a job? Or you have just mentioned some photos or pictures of what you have done? You have to make a portfolio in a certain way, it looks more professional, and then you apply. If a person sees your portfolio, he will absolutely would like to hire you. Okay. Any other questions?
Sir, one more question.
Yeah.
I don't exactly have a BIM portfolio. I have a drafting portfolio, as I've been a structural draftsman, trainee in a Delhi based company.
Right.
So I have mentioned that projects, and I have been using AutoCAD since college time. When all the students were drawing by hands, I was making drawings with AutoCAD. So I have that projects, and I want to know that how can I make a BIM portfolio and then calibrate it whether it is sufficient enough to get me a job or not. If you please can answer this question.
Absolutely. In order to make a BIM portfolio, you need to work on a project, as you already mentioned. Like to get into the industry, you need to work on a project. Without working on a project, you won't be able to understand everything which is required in the industry. You can learn Revit, AutoCAD, Revit architecture, structure, anything. Watch a YouTube video online, make a 3D model. That's pretty easy thing to do. And if you go into the company, the working is very different over there. Okay, they need a people who already have an experience working on a project. In order to get a proper BIM portfolio, I would suggest you need to work on a BIM project first. Make a proper CAD to BIM project, make a proper scan to BIM project, and also make a BIM to CAD project. All these three workflows the industry is looking for. If you have all these three skills, then you are the first choice for any employer, for any company in India and even other countries. Now remote works are also possible, so many people are working on a company in Dubai, Singapore, Malaysia remotely. So these things you need. Okay. Another thing you need to have is a proper LinkedIn professional account. People don't have a LinkedIn professional account. They just make their own name and add a photo. You need to have a LinkedIn account professional in which you showcase. Like you mentioned, you already worked on so many projects. So I need to see your LinkedIn account in which you already mentioned all your projects, your achievements, everything on LinkedIn. And you have shared with the people. Not just with the people, you have shared in the groups. There are so many groups out there on LinkedIn which has 50,000 people, 60,000 people. How many people have you reached out? How many people have you messaged that, hello sir, this is my work, would you give me some suggestions about how I can enter into this industry, or is there any company? You need to take an effort, you need to start posting things online. If you really have that experience working in the drafting on AutoCAD is one thing, but this is the BIM job you are looking for. It's something very different. Drafting is different and BIM modeling is different. Okay, so you need to have a skill related to BIM modeling, and you need to work on a live project. If you work on a live project using being a drafter, then may not be required in the industry as of now. Same as I am saying, the people who are working on a BIM project as of now may be not required in the near future. They might need to upgrade themselves to automation. Okay, because without automation, like many of the people will just lose their job, because making a simple 3D model, many of the things are being automated. What is required is the knowledge, intelligence, how to use the workflows. Like I already mentioned scan to BIM. I mentioned this CloudWorks. Go have a look at this CloudWorks. What is this CloudWorks? How it can help you automate the scan to BIM workflows. And when you enter into the company, you will face an interview and a tool test. In order to crack this interview, crack these tool tests, you need, if you have these kind of knowledge and awareness about what's happening in the industry, what tools are used, then more likely the employer will hire you, right? So these things you need to know. You need to work on a BIM project. It's not just you can watch a YouTube video or some course online and that's it. You need to work on a real case live project or a real case project in order to understand everything, make a proper BIM mode portfolio, and then apply. Okay. Any other questions from the participants? Aditya, Akshay, Aniket, Prateek, you can raise your hand.
Sir,
Yeah, Abhin. Good afternoon.
hello.
Yeah, tell me.
Sir, actually, I am working in Dubai and I'm from Kerala, India, Kerala.
Nice.
I have two questions.
Yeah.
For 5 years, I have been working as a site engineer and draftman, those positions in Kerala. And here, Dubai, I working as a BIM modeler.
Huh.
So recently, I heard about this BIM modeler versus BIM engineer. What
Okay.
is actually mean by a BIM engineer and BIM modeler? These terms are similar or not? That's my first question.
Absolutely. That's a very good question you asked. That's great to interact with you, Abhin, and people like you and other people I would also expect in the coming sessions. They would like to interact and ask these kind of questions. BIM engineer and BIM modeler, it's a two different position with two different responsibilities. Okay. So BIM engineer may be a person who will be working on not just the modeling part. He may be also have a deliverable of documentation, also the coordination, also coordinating with the BIM coordinators or the BIM engineers, ability to capture the coordination reports, issues on site which is happening. So this is a BIM engineer which have a very different role. It can be a role from an office to the site or from site to the office. But whereas if we talk about a BIM modeler, it's not a specific BIM modeler, right? So it can be an architectural BIM modeler or a structural BIM modeler. So it's just, you mentioned there is a BIM modeler position. So BIM modeler is a position where you will be able to model something, like basically CAD to BIM type of modeling or scan to BIM type of modeling, where you are working on Revit, AutoCAD and Recap Pro. So that is a modeling position, whereas BIM engineer is a more high level position. So that's the basic difference, and these differences are actually depends on the company, what they have mentioned in their roles and responsibilities. Some companies, they expect roles and responsibilities of a BIM coordinator, and they give you a position of a BIM modeler. Okay, I hope you can understand what I try to say. So the companies are like this as of now. They expect more and they give a lower position for you. Did I answer your question, Abin?
Yes, sir. I got. And my second question.
Yeah.
Yes. Sir, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. So my second question.
Yeah.
As I'm working as a BIM modeler, how can I transit to a scan to BIM? Or what are the type of BIM modelings like scan to BIM? Actually, I'm not doing scan to BIM. What I'm doing, I got some IFC drawings, and from that IFC drawings, I'm preparing modeling and clash report. Those things only I'm doing.
Right.
So, what is actually the difference between a scan to BIM and what I'm actually doing?
Okay, I understand from your work. You basically getting the files from the clients and you are doing the clash reports, and also maybe you are doing some part of the modeling in Revit or documentations in Revit. But in order to switch to a scan to BIM domain, you need to know how to use a point cloud data, number one. That is a RCP file and RCS file. These are the two types of files which is there in point cloud data. .rcp and .rcs. You need to know how to work around these two types of files, and then you need to know how to visualize this data in a Recap Pro. As I just show you over here, this is a Recap Pro. You need to be able to know how to use a Recap Pro. Second, you need to know how to work in a 3D coordinate system, X, Y and Z. Okay, that is basically when you work on a simple Revit project, you work in a 2D environment, or you work in a south elevation, north elevation, or different elevations or sections, right? But you mostly don't work in a 3D environment for the modeling part in Revit. But with scan to BIM, you need to work in a 3D environment mostly. It's like working in all the three coordinate system. You need to arrange the model from one level, then you need to arrange the model from the front elevation as well. So these kind of things you need to know. In order to switch this position, I would recommend you take a proper training or guidance from any training institute. Like we offer training on scan to BIM and BIM to CAD and Revit to CAD, CAD to BIM, all these kind of workflows, and then switch your job to a particular company. You can ask them that I already have an experience working on scan to BIM projects now. I already have 2 years, 5 years experience working on CAD to BIM. So they will be ready to accept you. But I wouldn't suggest you go to scan to BIM when you already have working on the BIM domain, because scan to BIM may possibly lower your level. Okay, it's my personal suggestions, but it's up to you, because when you work on the scan to BIM, it's basically for the fresher people who are entering into the domain, and it's a really boring and automated boring work, I would say. Scan to BIM is not my cup of tea, but in the industry it is really required as of now. But sooner or later, maybe 2 years, 3 years, there will be so many applications which are being processed and developed, which will be able to customize the entire point cloud data and help to make a 3D model directly. Instead of people modeling it using their hand, mouse and the keyboard, people will be just using the automation tools and making the modeling much faster. But yeah, scan to BIM is a good thing. You can try working in this domain for few years or few months, and then switch to a better position. And also, when you go into the scan to BIM domain, if you are considering you are a civil engineer, so you just don't need to focus on structural civil engineering aspect of the building. You also need to focus on architecture, MEP, all the different disciplines. So that's a great possibility for you when you go into the scan to BIM. You will be able to work on all the disciplines. You will be able to work on more challenging projects, and modeling in Revit and modeling on a scan to BIM project is a very different level. Scan to BIM projects is a more difficult level of modeling. So you can try that thing, but I wouldn't suggest you work in this domain for very long. For 6 months to 1.5 to 2 years is good enough. After that, you need to switch your role to a better position, maybe a BIM coordinator or a BIM manager position. If you continue working in the same domain, you won't have that growth which you are looking for in the industry. Okay?
Okay, so thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. So,
you.
one more question. What as of now, I know ADS Max, Revit, AutoCAD, and Naviswork. So, what are the other softwares I need to upskill for continuing my career? Actually, any other softwares required?
Uh, See, knowing a lot of software is not something. One thing is where you want to go. That you need to have a clarity first. Let's say you want to be a BIM manager in the future. So you need to work software which is the BIM managers are using, like a Synchro Pro. The BIM managers are using. They are using Autodesk Construction Cloud solutions. Okay, it's a platform where you will be working with different teams on the cloud platform. Uh, Maybe they are using Dynamo for automation of their BIM projects. So these are the tools I think you should focus on, which is better for your upcoming positions in the industry.
Okay, so thank you.
Yeah. If don't focus on the other softwares or other companies, like maybe some people try to learn so many softwares like Tekla, StatPro, eTabs, and so on, so forth. You need to know the path, okay? So where you want to go and what you want to become, and in that path, whatever the tools or applications which you are going to encounter, it's better if you have that kind of knowledge earlier on. Like when you go to a managerial position, you need to know Primavera or Synchro Pro, these kind of tools, Autodesk Construction Cloud solutions, right? Okay. Any questions?
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, welcome. Any questions, anyone? Pratik, Parisuta, Niket, Irfan. You can raise your hand, anyone? Okay, that's it. So we will end the session today. Thank you everyone for joining. We will meeting again on the next Sunday. I'm expecting all of you. If you have any specific topic you want me to cover in the next session, you can mention in the group. Okay, that I will talk about this particular topic which is currently required by you. Okay, and anything you want to interact or ask related to BIM, jobs, anything, you can discuss in the groups or you can directly talk with me directly as well. Okay, thank you all for joining. Have a nice day and Eid Mubarak. Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you,
sir.
sir.
Eid
Eid
Mubarak.
Mubarak.
Eid Mubarak.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Eid Mubarak.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.